Okay, so this one we're going to show a vertical stretch given a graph. And I'm going to tell you there is an error in the textbook with one of the points that they chose. It doesn't match up. I'll show it correctly here in the video. And oh, you know what? My picture's different than what's in the book. So my picture, my graph is different than the graph on page 77, figure 20, if you have that book. But if you're just using the the online text, you should be okay. So it looks like it's fixed. So never mind, no error, it's all good. Okay, so let's read the directions on this function. A function, p of t, models the population of fruit flies. Okay, so there's the picture of the graph. A scientist is comparing this population to another population, q, whose growth follows the same pattern but is twice as large. Sketch a graph of this population. I'm going to do it right on this graph paper. So remember, this blue line here is going to be p of t. And then what we're going to graph is q of t. And I'll do that in orange so you can see that. But what's going to happen is you're going to take the same output point. So here we are at 0, right? 0. And it has an output of 1. So in the original function, you have 0, 1. Let's do all the original ones first. So p of t has a point 0, 1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for those kind of turning points. So I also have a point at 3, 3. And I have a point at 6, 2. And then I have a point at 7, 0. Okay, so I'm looking at this point here, this point here, this point here, and this point here. The shape of the curve is going to stay consistent. So we'll see that when we go to do this q. Okay, so now q of t, what's going to happen when we want to graph that is we're going to double all the outputs, right? Just the outputs. So keep the input the same, and then you're doubling the output. Keep the input the same, and you're doubling the output. Notice this time on that last point, the 0 stays a 0 because 2 times 0 is just 0. Now what is q of t? Q of t is twice p of t. So if you were going to write like a little formula for it, that's what it would look like. They don't ask us to write the formula, they just ask us to graph it. Okay, so now we can graph those points we have. 0, 2, 3, 6, 6, 4, and 7, 0. Now, hopefully you can see those points I have in orange. We have to keep the shape consistent. So I need to make sure that this is curving up. And I could, pick another point in there. My curve might be off a little bit. It looks like 2, 2, so maybe it should have gone through like a little bit off on that. But then this next section is straight. And then this last section is also straight. Okay, so that's kind of what it looks like right there. Okay, so all the outputs got doubled. Okay.